Where do I find that?
I've got it. Don't worry. All right. So we are live. So first of all, I want to just say happy Monday, everybody. We had an amazing full moon, pretty powerful full moon. And
Mhm.
if you're coming out from the full moon growth on the other side, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge you. It's been quite intense on my end. I am recovering from kind of feeling sick and integrating a lot of energy during this time. But I'm just excited today on this Monday to be live with Serena Curran. Serena has been a member of our community for a while now, and she works with visionary change makers, spiritual entrepreneurs. She's the creator of Beyond Limits Code. Beyond Limits Code is definitely intriguing my interest. It's a framework that empowers spiritual entrepreneurs to break through income ceilings, amplify impact with ease and confidence. I am really excited to get to know more about Beyond's Limit Code and to learn more about Serena's experience on how she came about creating this body of work. Um, so join me in welcoming beautiful Serena today among us. I'm just excited to be with her, be with you, Serena, in diving deep into your work that you live and breathe day in and day out.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Shakti. Live and breathe. That's what we do with our work, isn't it?
Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
there's a lot that goes into creating,
Mhm.
your own signature work. And
Mhm.
I think it's good that we are touching on that very briefly, um, because not everybody understands, that things that we put out does take so much of the commitment of walking the path and really living, breathing that medicine day in and day out. I'm glad that you get to really model it for us, actually, for our community.
Yeah, that's really the truth of the matter is that it's a lot about experience and walking through all of the things that happen. And I've been, doing this kind of work for 30 years. So I've certainly and I've leapt off many, many times into the unknown and not really knowing where things are going, including, going to live in Europe without knowing where I was going to live or specifically why I was going there, but knew that I had to go there. So that's probably the biggest leap I've ever taken, but there's been a pattern of that through my life of taking leaps and trusting and finding the way through, as well as, continuing to develop you know, all the studies that we all do and all of the trainings that we do to continue to develop our gifts. Yeah.
Awesome. Wow. I cannot even imagine heading to Europe not knowing where you would live. That is definitely a massive leap of trust.
Yeah.
Leap of
Yeah, absolutely. And and the other part of that, it was around that time that I discovered I was a healer, and I had 3 weekends of training, and I went there to do healing work, and I actually had my first healing practice in Austria. That's where I wound up being, much to my surprise. I was looking for the Riviera, but that wasn't it. And and so I had my first healing practice there, and I actually started my first business in German. So I've always felt once I had to start a business in German, the language I was just learning, that I could do a lot of things in business after that.
Wow. Wow. That is a very special story.
Yeah.
And I hope you get to tell the story over and over again, just because how special it is. And especially you were waking up, like really opening yourself up to your healing abilities, which is, I know, like being a healer too. Like I started my career as a healer too. That's
Hmm.
huge. That is such a huge coming out process to go through. You know what I mean? It's so different because the rest of the world just looks different from that vantage point. And there's that fear like, can I own myself? Can I stand in my truth to this degree?
Hmm.
Other people think. So I'm just celebrating your courage and what an amazing way of opening this call with that story. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I hope I tell that story to inspire others to know that if you really do trust and you follow, you wind up landing on your feet. And one of the big advantages for me was because I had very little training and all of a sudden I'm doing healing work, was I always knew it wasn't me. I always knew that it was coming through me and I had to rely on my God. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing basically in some ways. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I knew how to balance the chakras and things like that. But other than that, it was all like receiving and following the guidance that I was getting in the moment. So it was a great training to start that way, even though it was scary in some ways,
Yeah, and I feel like this is so important for so many uh, newer beginner healers out there, even coaches out there to hear, because we think when we go into these client sessions that we gotta have the mastery over the modality we are working with,
Mm-mm.
but it only needs the mastery over trusting the universal guidance to flow through you,
Yeah.
right? It's trusting that flow of words, trusting the flow of actions, trusting that flow of inspiration. That
Hmm.
is how the healing actually happens. And now, honestly, that is the most difficult job. Learning Reiki is easy. You spend a weekend and you have a map of, I mean, I know I'm just oversimplifying it right now, but trust is real deal here.
Yeah.
And when we really surrender in that trust, like I feel like a beginner. I've been doing this work for 10 years. I feel still like a beginner
Mhm.
going into a client session. I don't know what's gonna happen,
Right.
how the energy is going to form, what is going to be on the other side of it, what will be the revelations in the process. But that great mystery just calls you
Hmm.
in,
Hmm.
lean in and leaning in more and more.
Hmm.
Thank you for having us arrive here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, after where I went from Austria, by the way, was to Hawaii. And I remember saying to my guys at that time, okay, let me get this straight. You want me to go halfway across the world to a place I've never been? I don't know people there, and I'm almost out of money. Is that it? Is that what you want me to do? And I did it. While I was in Hawaii, I became a certified healing touch practitioner, which got me to work inside hospitals with patients. I don't do hands-on healing anymore. I haven't since, so I don't know, probably 15 years or so. But it was wonderful experience and a lot of good, wonderful, um, just lovely working with patients and seeing the journey that they were on.
Yeah. What a service. What a service. Thank you for that. I
Mhm.
want to ask you, Serena, I feel like I've just through that story, I've gotten to really get to know your essence. At the same time, I'm curious to learn more, and I want to know what was Serena doing? What was she thinking? What was she experiencing? What what propelled her to create the Beyond Limits Code?
Well, it's I gather an organic process. I am an organic kind of person. And it really, what happened was that I came to a place where I was stuck and I couldn't get forward and I didn't know why. And I had a lot of skills. I had a lot of abilities to do my own healing. And I had been hearing about the Akashic records and they kept calling me and I didn't really pay attention for a lot of years. We do that sometimes. And one day I was listening to a radio show and this one was talking about the Akashic. I said, that's what I need. And I went for to receive a clearing of my Akashic records. And when I received it, I could feel the energy lifting off of me. And I knew then that this was one of the more powerful modalities that you can, in my world, you're working at soul level. So it bypasses a lot of mental emotional healing. It takes care of things that happen in other lives and intergenerational things and all of that stuff all at once. And so your life goes on a new trajectory right after you have a clearing. So once that happened, I did a lot of training in the Akashic records, and I developed my own, and I did business and finance training and in the records. I forgot manifesting and all these other things. And then I just developed my own process for doing that. And I started to work with clients. And as I was working with them, I began to want to mentor them more. It wasn't enough to just do the readings and tell them their soul powers and do the clearings and all of that sort of stuff. I wanted to help them to embody their souls.
Mm.
And over all this time, I've been studying astrology, 10, 15 years. I've been studying human design. And in working with my clients, I mean, I learned to use astrology for business. So it's about how you market and who your ideal client is. And there's a lot of information that you can get out of here. I'm not an astrologer. Know how to use astrology for business. And so there's a lot of information to be gotten out of there to guide your clients. So not only, and then in human design, the same thing. I'm not so much on the about the authority and that sort of stuff, but I actually look at the planets and what the gates are in the planets, and that also gives you information about what you're here to do. So there's a lot of, there are many, many ways to know yourself and to understand your patterns, but those three modalities, those three things I've integrated, and that's how Beyond Limits code got developed, because this information is just it skyrockets people's businesses and opens doors and all kinds of really great things. So I love it, and I love the part where I spend time mentoring them and helping them to really get that embodiment of those energies in their business. And I have a business background too. Like I have my own business for a lot of years, but I also have an MBA. And so I have the right brain and the left brain thing going on. So,
Beautiful. So
yeah.
am I understanding this right? Beyond Limits Code is a combination of astrology, human design, Akashic records. Am I understanding that right?
Yes, Akashic Records reading where I give you specific details about your soul gifts and how you can use them in business. And then I do a clearing in your records, which some of the times, many times I have clients that have things in their records that without getting a clearing, they're not going to get it. It might take eons, but this, we now have available to us this ability to clear things that built up, accumulated over lifetimes in a flash. It's effortless for the client. And it's just amazing. So yes, it's been an integration of that with my business mentoring, and so it's a whole. Um, I don't know. It's not a modality. It's a whole experience, shall we say, or a whole holistic approach to developing your business, growing your business, and it really helps people to move forward very quickly.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so tell me more. I think I have a very good sense of the Beyond Limits code, what it is really about. But tell me, who is this body of work for? Do you work with what does your client look like? What are they experiencing?
Yeah, well, I have all different kinds of clients, but I've had clients that came to me that were ready to quit. They have been either working on their business for 3 years or 4 years and not being able to get it get it to blossom. And clients who have said, I'm not only ready to quit, I'm ready to quit the whole thing. I'm ready to life as far as I'm feeling, I'm done with life because this has just been too stressful for me and too much, and I'm too disappointed. So normally it's somebody that's hit a wall that's hit a ceiling and they can't get past it. They probably have lots of training, lots of certificates, lots of degrees, and they just know that there's something missing and that isn't going to help them to get more of those. They may have been in coaching classes where they're given cookie cutter ways of doing business. And everyone's unique and everyone needs to do business the way that's really right for them. And that's really one of my biggest values, I guess I would say, is I'm a stand for my clients developing their business in a way that suits them and fits their soul. And that's what I'm about, is helping them to do that so that they have a business that really gives them what I call harmonic wealth, which is peace and purpose and prosperity and pleasure as
Mm,
a kind of harmonic harmony. And that's different for everybody, what it looks like. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. Very much needed in our world where there have
Mhm.
been wars fought in the history of mankind for money, for competing over money and resources and wealth. So thank you for taking that stand.
Yeah, and the other part, well, money, we could talk about money forever, but money has been given such a bad reputation and a bad name, and it's actually a very loving energy that's here to support us, and it actually is unlimited. Why? Because it comes from source. And
Mm-hmm.
that's another thing we could talk about is, people tend to think that their money comes from other people. It comes through other people, but it comes from source.
Mm-hmm.
And I have stories about how money showed up in the most odd ways because not something I could create, but something that source could certainly create or my guides could certainly create for me.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. So let me ask you a little bit more about Beyond Belief Code. Is Beyond Limits Code, is this a program? Is it a framework used, in your sessions? How is your work structured right now?
So basically, I use it in a mentoring program. It's an ongoing program. It's a 6 month program, and so this is the framework we use to get oriented towards what is really right for this client, for this woman. Mostly my clients are women, for this beautiful change maker that's here to have impact in the world. And that's another motivating factor for me. It's very important to me that each of us contributes what we came here to contribute because all of us are needed. And so that's part of what I feel is my mission is to help people to really make their contribution from their soul. And so uh, yeah, so basically it's a 6 month program, and then this is a framework that I use to help them to not only align with their soul, but take that next level and embody their soul.
Got it. Got it. Beautiful. Awesome. And if somebody wants to work with you from our community, how can they reach out to you?
Well, they can always just go right ahead and email me at serenacurran.com. You can go to my website if you'd like to know about this program, Rise. It's serenacurran.com/rise. And I'll tell you all about the program. And I'm always happy to talk with people and see whether they're aligned with this or even to give some guidance on what's going on with them. And yeah, those are the ways. And so, I've had other clients that have come to me, by the way, are people who had established business that tried to expand and they couldn't do it for whatever reason. And one particular client, she was making about $80,000 a year. And there was one little thing that we found in her Akashic records that she needed to change. And once that was changed, she's developed her business into a multi-million-dollar business. So it's amazing what can happen just by a little shift in what's going on at the soul level in the Akashic records. So I just want to mention that as well.
Yeah, it's just mind-boggling how even simple shifts can change our reality so
Hmm.
greatly. So I'm glad that you touched on that too.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you for having me here today, and I'm happy to connect with anyone out there that would like to have a little conversation about what's possible for you or whether you're in alignment with this. And you can do that at bit.ly/soul, sorry, Beyond Limits.
That's a,
Beyond Limits Code.com. I have an open ajna and human design, which means I don't remember anything.
that's perfect. Why don't you put that link in the chat
I,
window and
I
I can share in the comments, or you can go
Sure.
hop in the Facebook group and just,
Let me pop in and put it in for you.
yeah, that'll be great. That'll be great. And you can do it after we wrap up this session. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you, I think this would be a really nice way to wrap up. Serena, what is like one thing, you would like people to remember as they hear you talk today,
Mhm.
and really kind of you touched on a lot. You touched on a lot of different things from trusting the universe taking great leaps, leaning on the soul with guidance, expanding business. What is one thing that you would like people to remember from this conversation?
That you are a one-of-a-kind cosmic being, and
Mm,
your piece of the puzzle is very important. And so it's really important for you to get out and do your work and make your contribution in the way that you were meant to do that.
mm, mm. I'm just taking a deep breath in that and just like feeling this wisdom of yours. Thank you for sharing it. Yeah,
My pleasure.
often we keep fighting, with that uniqueness, I feel like, but just working with it is so powerful. So
Yeah,
excited.
that's really kind of funny because I mentioned to you earlier that I have Uranus on my ascendant, which means I came here to be unique. And so I understand that struggle because sometimes it's very uncomfortable, to be different than everyone else. But then that's how we are all different. We're like snowflakes. We're all different. And it's in those differences that we can make our best contributions.
That's awesome. Yes, thank you for sharing that, Medicine. Lots of wisdom to tap into this conversation. Serena, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for taking time out today to share about your work. I can feel it's your whole lifetime's calling. And I'm just excited for our community to receive this gift, this very precious gift, right before the holidays. Every word that you spoke of just infused wisdom, and wishing you the very best. It is such an honor to have you part of our community. And, just wishing you very best with Beyond Limits Code. And may you keep prospering and may you have an amazing, fabulous holiday season. And to everybody listening out there, please reach out to Serena if any of our words resonated with you. If you're hitting a wall in your business and you're not able to figure out what is it, it just is so much more powerful to tap into the quantum field and to find out the exact reason and just normalizing it. We all need support at all times, normalize it. And if any of your experience can be easy in growing your business, please know that we have your back. You don't have to struggle by yourself all alone. And we have a group of experts. We have this whole community holding you up. And Serena is one example. Wherever there's support needed, please put in the group, let us know. And myself, one of us, there's some really powerful women, men in this community who are here to help each other, who are here to walk each other home. And that is the spirit I want to take into my holiday season. And I hope you get to really take it in, soak in, and really get to celebrate the spirit in your holiday season. Have an amazing time with your loved ones. And I will see you around soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Great.